Bears Nation, something's been sitting heavy on my mind these past few days, and I need to share it with you because it could completely change how we think about this upcoming. While everyone's laser focused on our offensive needs and assuming we're going defense at 25, I've been studying tape, analyzed trends, and seeing something that might be the boldest move Ryan Poles could make. Welcome to Bears News Fan Report, your home for breaking news, in-depth analysis, and the real conversations that matter about our beloved Chicago Bears. Here you're getting the latest updates, credible speculation, and a true fan's perspective on every decision that shapes this franchise. So stay locked in because what I'm about to walk you through today challenges everything we thought we knew about our. Let me paint you a picture of where we are right. The regular season just wrapped up and our draft position is set at 25. Overall, that's a decent spot, not great, not terrible, definitely workable. And when you look at the consensus thinking around this pick, it's all defense, defense, defense. Everyone's talking about defensive tackle, edge rusher, maybe a cornerback if the board falls the right way. And honestly, I completely understand that thinking. Our defensive line got pushed around late in the season. We struggled to generate consistent pressure, and there were games where opposing offenses just moved the ball at will against. So yeah, addressing that side of ball paper. But here's where my mind has been going lately, and I want you to really think about this with me. Sometimes the most impactful draft picks aren't the ones that fill obvious holes. Sometimes they're the ones that elevate your strengths to an entirely different level, the ones that take what's already good and make it unstoppable. And when I look at where this Bears offense is right now, when I think about Caleb Williams and what he showed us his rookie season, I see an opportunity. Caleb had moments of absolute brilliance this year. We all saw it. The arm talent generation, the ability to extend plays is remarkable, and the football IQ is already beyond his years. But we also saw stretches where the offense stalled, where we couldn't consistently move the ball, where Caleb was trying to make too much happen because the pieces around him weren't getting open consistently enough, and that's not a knock on our current receivers. DJ Moore is a legitimate weapon, Keenan Allen brought veteran savvy when healthy, and Rome Odunze showed flashes of why we drafted him. But if we're being completely honest with ourselves, do we have that true explosive element, that guy who can take the top off a defense and force safeties to respect the deep ball every single snap? This is where things get really interesting, and this is what's been keeping me up at night, analyzing film. There is a receiver coming out of Ohio State who might be exactly need, and his name is starting to generate serious buzz across league circle. I'm not talking about a project player or a developmental guy. I'm talking about someone who step immediately offensive. But before I get to who I'm talking about, I need you to understand the bigger strategic picture here. The draft order is set, and we know where the prospects are projected to go. The Raiders are picking first, and they're taking a quarterback. Jets, too, are doing the same. Arizona at 3 is going best player available, likely a linebacker. Tennessee at 4 needs edge rush help. And then at 5, the Giants are sitting there with what most expect will be a receiver pick. They've got Jackson Dart at quarterback now. They have some weapons in Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson, but they're looking to add more fire. And the player most mocked have them taking is someone who averaged over 17 yards per reception last season, someone who found the end zone 9 times, someone who was an absolute nightmare for defensive coordinators to game plan. I'm talking about Carnell Tate from Ohio State. And before you start thinking I've lost my mind just to target talent, when we're picking at 25, hear me out completely, because what I'm about to propose isn't crazy. Calculate, and it might be exactly the kind of aggressive move that separates good franchises from great ones. Think about what Tate brings to the table. This kid is a big play machine in every sense of the term. That 17-yard average per catch isn't just a fluky number. It's a reflection of his ability to create separation downfield, to track the ball in the air, to make contested catch in traffic, and to turn routine receptions into explosive. When you watch his tape from last season, you see a receiver who understands leverage, who can win at all 3 levels, and who has the speed to legitimately threaten defense vertically. He's not just fast in a straight line. He's fast with purpose, understanding how to manipulate defensive back with his and then accelerate past them when the opportunity presents. Now imagine that skill set in our offense. Imagine Caleb Williams having a weapon like that to work. We've seen what happens when Caleb has time and his receivers can get open. He's surgical. He puts the ball exactly where it needs to be, and he trusts his arm to fit throws into tight windows. But we've also seen what happens when coverage tightens up, when defenses can play more aggressively because they don't have to respect the deep ball quite as much. Adding someone like Tate changes that entire calculation. Suddenly, safeties can't cheat up. Suddenly defenses have to respect every level of the field. And suddenly guys like DJ Moore and Rome Odunze are getting one-on-one matchups they can win because defenses can't dedicate extra resource. But here's the challenge, and this is where we need to talk serious about what it would take to make. Tate is projected to go in top 5, maybe to the Giant at 5. We're sitting 5. That's a massive gap, and moving up 20 spots in the first round doesn't come cheap. It would require significant draft capital, probably multiple picks, maybe even future selection. And the question becomes, is it worth it? Do you mortgage future flexibility to grab a player you believe can be a difference maker right now? My answer might surprise you. Think it's worth serious exploring. And here's why. We're not a team that's 5 years away from competing. We have our franchise quarterback on a rookie contract, which is the most valuable asset in football. We have a defense that, despite its struggles, has talented pieces in place. We have a coaching staff that's proven it can develop players. We're in win-now mode, whether people want to admit it or not. And win-now mode sometimes requires aggressive moves, don't fit convention. Look at what other teams have done when they identify a player they believed could transform their offense. The Eagles traded up for Devonta Smith. The Dolphins moved up for Jalen Waddle. The Chargers made sure they got their guy in Quentin Johnston. Not all those moves have worked out perfect, but the logic's sound. When you have a young quarterback and you believe a specific weapon can accelerate his development and elevate your offense, you go get him. And let's talk about value. Yes, moving from 25-5 expensive, but what's the alternative? We take the best offensive player available, 25, and maybe he contributes. Maybe he develops into something good over time. But does that single defensive pick actually move the needle enough to make us a legitimate contender next season? Or would adding an explosive weapon to our offense, someone who forces defenses to approach us completely differently, have a bigger overall impact? I'm not saying defense doesn't matter. Of course it matters. But there are multiple ways to build a defense. You can address needs through free agency, later round picks who develop, through scheme adjustments that maximize the talent you have. But finding a true game-breaking offensive weapon, especially one who fits perfectly with your young quarterback skill set, those opportunities don't come around as often as you might think. The mock draft I've been looking at has us taking Caden McDonald, a defensive tackle from Ohio State, at 25. He's a solid player, good size, decent production, fills a need. But does he change games? Does he force opponents to completely alter their approach? Does he make everyone around him better just by being on the field? I'm not convinced he does. Meanwhile, someone like Carnell Tate had kind of impact potential. He's the type of player who can turn a good offense into a great one. And here's something else to consider. Caleb Williams is in year 2. This is a critical development year for him. The worst thing we could do is waste this year by not giving him the weapons he needs to succeed. Every year we don't surround him with elite talent is a year we're potentially stunting his growth. Look at what happened with Justin Fields. We didn't give him enough help early on, and by the time we started adding pieces, the relationship was already fractured. We cannot make that same mistake, Caleb. We have to be aggressive about building around him while we have the chance. Now, would other teams be willing to trade down from the top 5? That's the million-dollar question. The Giants at 5 might be open to it if the right offer comes along. Teams always say they're not interested in trading back until they hear an offer that can't. And if Ryan Poles puts together a package that includes multiple high picks and shows the Giants they can reload with more selections, maybe they bite. Maybe they look at their roster, realize they have multiple holes to fill, and decide that accumulating more assets makes more sense than taking one player. This is the kind of move that separates good general managers from great ones. Being willing to make the bold call, to go against conventional thinking, to trust your evaluation, and commit to it fully. And everything I know about Ryan Poles suggests he's not afraid to be aggressive and he believes in something. He traded up for Rome Odunze last year. He made the move for Caleb Williams when the opportunity presented itself. He's shown he's willing to be proactive rather than react. So here's what I think needs. The Bears need to have serious internal conversations about their offensive philosophy, what they need to take. If they genuinely believe Carnell Tate is that missing piece, if they think he's the player who can transform this offense from good to elite, then they need to explore every possible avenue to make it happen. Call the Giants, call the Cardinals at 3, call Tennessee at 4, find out what it would take to move up and grab your guy. Because sometimes in this league, league, you have to make aggressive move before the opportunity appears. And look, I know some of you are going to push back on you're going to say we need defense, we can't afford to give up multiple picks. We should stay put and take the best player of it at 20. I hear you, and those are valid concerns, but I'm asking you to think about what this offense could be with the right pieces in play. To imagine Caleb Williams throwing to a receiving core that includes DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Carnell Tate. That's a lineup that can compete with anyone in the NFC. That's a lineup that makes legitimate threat deep. Bears Nation, I want to hear from you. Do you think moving up to grab Carnell Tate makes sense? Would you be willing to give up the draft capital it would take to make it happen? Or do you think we should stay at 25 and address the defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is a conversation we all need to be having as we head toward draft season. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. Here at Bears News Fan Report, you're getting the first look at every major development, every trade possibility, every draft scenario that matters our Chicago Bears. Don't miss a single up. We know it could be the most important season in recent franchise history. Here breaking it all down for you every Bear. Down!